Hi, Dan Warnecke here with United Way at Work. Today we are here with Courtney Anderson from the Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging, talking about the Meals on Wheels program. Courtney, thanks so much for being here today.
Yes, glad to be here.
So I just kind of want to jump right into it. Tell me a little bit about the program itself and just kind of highlight the importance of it in the Rutland area.
Yeah, so I think the Meals on Wheels program, it's really it's a home delivered meal program for folks who are our most vulnerable population, who maybe don't always have family members or neighbors or a way to get to the grocery store. I can't tell you how many times our volunteer drivers have gone into the home to deliver a meal and they found someone on the floor or in need of dire help, where they've called the ambulance and really have been able to get that person help and what they need. Or because they're delivering to them on a daily basis, they really kind of get to know the clients, where they may notice that someone is kind of off their normal behavior. So they can always give us a call. If we're not the social workers for that client or a case manager, we can help refer to other community partners who may be connected with the client. Because like I said, most of the time these folks don't always necessarily have family close by that can help them.
Sure. Wow, so that really is an important program. It's more than just a meal. It's really kind of almost like a familiar face every day.
Yep. We call it, it's more than just a meal. It's also a safety check. So not only if a volunteer finds someone on the floor, but if, say, someone's not home in a day, it's also a safety check. We contact the client's emergency contact.
Oh, wow.
And if someone isn't home where they normally would be home, we can also do a wellness check with the police. They go out and do a welfare check just to make sure that everything's okay. So really it is more than just a meal. And sometimes it is the only nutritious meal that a client does receive in a day.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of going right into the meals. Can you describe those meals to us? Is it usually a certain type of protein, vegetable every day, or is it kind of change up here and there?
Yeah, so it really changes. Because we receive Older Americans Act federal funding, we have to make sure that the meals are meeting the dietary requirements of the Older Americans Act.
Oh, okay.
So the meals are 1/3 of the requirements, but we make sure that each meal has proteins, grains, fruits, vegetables. They are low in sodium, high in vitamin A and C. They are reviewed by a registered dietitian to make sure that all of those portions are within the requirements. But we also we do a lot of gleaning, and we receive a lot of local donations from local businesses. So we try to incorporate as much of that as possible. We try to keep it local when we can. We're here with Doug Jones today, Food Service Director with Lindley. Doug, can you tell us a little bit about what today's meal is?
Today's meal is Brussels sprouts, rice peel-off with vegetables, beef steak with beets, and Monterey Jack cheese.
Looks delicious. Can you tell us a little bit about what the volunteerism looks like? I know you guys put out a lot of meals each and every day. How many volunteers do you have?
Currently in Rutland County we have like 200 plus volunteers. That does Rutland City, Rutland Town, Brandon, Clarendon, Wells, Chittenden, and we also do meals for Addison County, Franklin County, Chittenden County, Springfield, Ludlow, Bellows Falls, and Brattleboro.
Wow. With all of those meals, can you tell us about how many of those stay in Rutland County?
Around 500 meals a day. It fluctuates a little bit day to day, but right around 500 meals per day in Rutland County.
Wow. Well, thank you, Doug, again. We really enjoy this partnership with you, and I'm glad that you guys put out all of these great meals. We couldn't do this without you.
Well, thank you.
And thank you again to the United Way.
That's awesome. And is it a 3-meal-a-day basis, or is this a 1 meal per day each week? How does that work?
So other states have different options, but here in Vermont, the funding that we receive, we're barely able to get folks 1 meal a day, and oftentimes some areas of the state, they're not even able to offer 1 meal a day. So in Rutland County, we're really lucky. We've been able to at least offer 1 meal a day up to 7 days a week.
That's great.
So unfortunately, it is only 1 meal a day, but it is one of the most nutritious meals that they will get. And oftentimes, those folks are really stretching that meal out to kind of save them for their full 3 meals a day.
Wow. Okay, so the importance of these meals is it's more than just 1 meal. For some people, it's almost like their only food for that day. Wow. So for these meals, is it just Rutland County that you guys are serving, or is it other regions? I know you guys serve primarily in this area. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're one of the 5 area agencies on aging, one of the 5 AAAs in the state of Vermont. Each of us cover a certain demographic, a certain county district area. So the Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging covers both Rutland and Bennington County. So I'd say, out of the 210,000 meals that were served last year.
I'm going to stop you right there. 210,000 meals.
Yep, and that's not just home delivered, that is community meals, but about 85% of those meals are home delivered meals.
Wow.
But with that being said, about 72% of those 210,000 meals come from Rutland County.
Wow, so about 70-ish% stays right here in the Rutland area. That's pretty amazing. So those 210,000 meals, you said that's over years' time, correct? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Really, to put that into perspective, when you think about how much food that really is, how many tons of food that really is, that's pretty amazing. So good job on that.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think something that's really unique to Rutland County is just recently this past year we've started doing medically tailored meals. We've realized that we have a lot of clients with chronic diseases or hypertension or diabetes that really just need that extra tailoring of the meal to kind of keep them in a healthy state.
Sure.
So really proud that also the funding from United Way has kind of helped us being able to kind of get into that.
That's awesome. Well, we're happy to help with that. Kind of going into that a little bit more, you said you tailor these meals to these individuals. Is it here just within your office spaces where you will look into their dietary needs, or do you work with doctors directly? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think it can be really different depending on the client's situation. But when someone signs up for Meals on Wheels, we just do a brief short intake just to kind of get them enrolled, because we want them to be on the program as soon as possible. So oftentimes if someone's calling in, whether it's a doctor, family member, the client themselves, we try to get them enrolled and getting a meal within the next day if feasibly possible. Some rural towns it's not possible, but that's kind of the goal. And then from there, within 30 days, someone from our office goes out and does a full assessment on the client just to make sure that they are covered with the eligibility and to make sure that there's nothing else that we can help them with, or maybe there are other services and programs that we can connect them with that we try while we're doing the home visit. But kind of we go through a more in-depth assessment to see what their dietary requirements are. We also contract with our registered dietitian, like I said, so if we're noticing, extreme weight loss or lower BMI, we can put in a referral, and she'll go out and do a one-on-one nutrition counseling with that client in their home in a setting of their choice.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's not even just a home visit. It really is. It's a whole framework for these people. It's trying to figure out what do these people need, and I love to hear that you guys also network and try and get them to places that might help them. You're not just giving them a meal, you're giving them a smiling face, and you're also going that next step into helping them maybe do something else that might be beneficial to their lives. So
yeah, I mean, we're not the expert in all things elder, so if there's something that we notice a client needs, we will definitely work with our community partners to make sure that they're getting the services and supports to keep them healthy and independent and living in the setting of their choice.
That's wonderful. That's great to hear. Beautiful. Really, my last question here, kind of two questions really. If you are an individual in need and you know that you need the proper nutrition, but you're not getting it and you don't have the means of getting it, how do you get involved in this program if you are the person in need of the food? And also, I know you guys have a lot of volunteers helping with this regularly. Can you also touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So if it's someone that needs home delivered meals, whether it's themselves identifying that they need the meal, or like I said, if a doctor's office or someone's being released from the hospital, anybody can call and sign someone up, but because we are self-directed, we have to make sure that the client is aware that they're being signed up. So anyone can call. You can either call our helpline number, the 1-800 number, which is a statewide number, or you can call our local office. You'll talk to one of our administrative assistants. They'll go through that short intake process, and like I said, within a day or two, we're hopefully going to have your first meal delivered to you in your home.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and then I think as far as the volunteer side of things, we always need volunteers, and I can't stress how important this program is. This program would not be successful without the dedication of our volunteers. We have hundreds of volunteers that do this on a daily basis, and whether it's you're volunteering your time 5 days a week or just for half an hour on your lunch break, any and all volunteers are always needed, and you don't necessarily have to be delivering the meal. You could be in our local provider's office just kind of helping package the food, or on the business side of things, filing or whatever it is that's needed to keep the program successful. But to sign up, you can just call our office here. You would go through Aaron Brush, who's our volunteer coordinator. He would kind of go through the volunteer process. You do have to pass background checks.
Okay.
And then after that, once you've passed, we kind of shift you over to the provider, and they kind of do the orientation and the scheduling with you.
That's amazing. So this is a community effort. This is not just you. This is not just
so many
this
partners and
company.
volunteers.
It really is, and that's the heart of the nonprofit world. Really, it's the volunteers.
Yep.
And to hear that you guys have hundreds of volunteers just in the Rutland region alone, that's amazing. And it also speaks highly of our community too. Our community is incredible. The Rutland area, we're always looking after one another. So thank you, Courtney, so much for your time, and thank you so much for your work.
Yes.
And thank you guys for listening in for another week of United Way at Work.